Hello and welcome back to LearnSBOM. My name is Skylar and I'm going to be walking you through a CycloneDX SBOM generator for Cocoapods projects called CycloneDX Cocoapods. This tool generates a CycloneDX version 1.4 SBOM, unfortunately only in XML format, but if you have a Cocoapods project, this could be the tool that you're looking for. Moving quickly on to installation, you'll need a couple of prerequisites. First, obviously Cocoapods, and then also Ruby, because this is a Ruby gem. So once you have those installed, you can just simply do sudo gem install CycloneDX-Cocoapods. It's going to fetch a bunch of things and possibly error. There we go. So if you get this error, failed to build gem native extension, likely your issue is going to be that you don't have Ruby dev installed. So if you just do sudo at install ruby-dev to install ruby dev, and then we're going to rerun the gem install command, and hopefully that should work again. If you get a similar error to this one, but in the description it says to check a log file somewhere, it's likely that you're just missing a different package. When I ran into this issue, I didn't have a library called libz-dev installed, and I just found that in the log file itself. If you get a different error that says to check a log file, I would definitely recommend that because that should be able to fix your issue pretty quickly. So once we install Ruby dev, we can reinstall CycloneDX Cocoapods. And this first step should now take a little bit longer than it did before, which probably means it's going to work. And once that's done, you should see a success and installation message. Now we can run Cocoapods. So if we do CycloneDX Cocoapods, we should get an error here saying missing Podfile and home student. And that's just because I'm not in the directory that I'm trying to scan. If I cd into that directory, we can rerun it. And you will see a different error. This time, please run pod install. This is a simple fix. Pod install. And after this loads, the program should be good to go. So let's run it again. Let's do the help command first. So this will tell us what we can do. There aren't a ton of options, and unfortunately, most of them are for manual metadata information and stuff like that. It does have a path to the directory you want to scan, an output path for the BOM.xml file that you're going to make, a version for the bill of materials. Unfortunately, this can only be an integer, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It can't be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, or anything like that. And then exclude test targets, which, as you can see here, eliminates Podfile targets whose name contains the word test. The other commands down below here, the name of the component, this is the main component that you're scanning, the version, and the type, so application, framework, library, container, operating system, etc. It also lets you choose a group. This is less helpful than name, version, and type, but it's still informative. If you have that information, it is always good to add. So let's just make a simple bill of materials just running the command by itself. As you can see, it finished, and if we cat bom.xml, we'll see a pretty short, just because in this file in particular, there's only one component, as you can see here. A pretty short SBOM, but it looks to be up to date, version 1.4. It's in XML format, of course. But as you can see, it only has the name of the tool that it created in the metadata. That is where these options come in. Before we move on, however, I would like to add that this only scans pod files. So this, unfortunately, it will not scan pod spec files. So if you have a library or something like that, which usually runs off pod spec, you won't be able to generate a bill of materials for that. If it does, however, have a pod file, you should be good to go. Moving back to the creating of the actual SBOM, let's use some of these name, version, and type options. If we do CycloneDX-N, SBOM test, sure, -v 3.3, and then the type, we can just make it a framework. And let's actually specify the output just so it doesn't overwrite the BOM.xml that we made before. And we can just name it test.xml. So once that's made, we can see that it is here. Oh my goodness, forgot how to type. So now we can see that in the metadata section, there are a new component, type framework, name SBOM test, and version 3.3. And obviously we can see here that the components that it found before are still here, but that's pretty much it for this tool. It's quite simple. It requires a lot of manual input, given the other tools that we've looked at on this channel. Many of them just automatically find these values by either getting the name of the directory, re-swift, or something like that. But it's possible that in Cocoapods this is less trivial than other languages or package managers or something like that. Overall, I think this tool is pretty good for a simple Cocoapods SBOM generator. If you need 1 or 2 SBOMs for a Cocoapods project that you're not gonna make like a ton of, I think that'll be fine. A couple of drawbacks: there's no integration with CI/CD pipelines. It is only in the XML format, so if you need it in a JSON format, you'll need to install another tool to convert it. It requires quite a bit of manual input, and if you're doing this for many different projects, it'll get really tedious. If you're doing it for one project, you could probably make a script of it, setting the name and type to the same thing every time and incrementing the version or something like that. But again, you have to do that manual work. I would recommend to try to find another tool that fits your use case, that either has CI/CD integration capabilities, it can interact with other SBOM managers or vulnerability scanners or something like that, because in the long run, you don't need the SBOM, you need to know the vulnerabilities in your code. And the SBOM is just a medium to do that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to like, and you can check out more of our videos on the LearnSBOM YouTube channel or at our website, LearnSBOM.com. Again, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for checking out this video. If you really liked it, be sure to check out our other videos right here, and then you can also subscribe right up top here. And again, thank you. Bye-bye.